All right, hey everybody, it's Megan Ritz, cake curator at Classic Cakes in Carmel, Indiana. Today for our Tutorial Tuesday, we are going to do some buttercream succulents. So as people are jumping on, when you are live with me, tell me where you are watching from. I love to see where all of our viewers are at in the world. We've had some pretty awesome reach across the country and across the world, so please tell me where you're located. I love to hear that. We're gonna dive right into some buttercream succulents. Hey Sharon, hey Terry. Yes, this has been a very greatly anticipated one, so I'm super excited. And fortunately, I will be taking the next 2 weeks off. I'm actually going to be leaving town. So I will not have Tutorial Tuesdays the next 2 weeks, but we're going to come back with a bang on August 11th for Tutorial Tuesday. We're going to be doing color effects. So we're going to talk about watercolors and ombre and all these different kinds of fun techniques that we can do to add some color and some vibrance to a cake. So I'm super excited about that one as well. So let's jump right in. Buttercream succulents. So there's two really big differences between doing like a buttercream flower and a buttercream succulent. There are some little piping techniques that we'll go through today, and I'll show you step by step everything. And then color is a really big difference. So you can do succulents in any color, just like you can do flowers in any color, but the more realistic your color palette is, the more like immediately you have that familiar succulent look. So same with flowers. Like if you do flowers and if you do roses in green, they might look a little bit more like a succulent or a cabbage or, you know, something like that. So we're gonna play with some colors, and Becky, one of our decorators here, had challenged me to do some succulents. So I practiced a little bit last week, and then I want to play with some colors. So I have some ideas for colors. I don't know if they're gonna work or not, but we're gonna play a little bit today too. So let's dive in. So first we're gonna do the more standard succulent. I don't know the names of any of these things, by the way. I just know they look pretty. So if you know the names, I love it. Go ahead and throw those at me. We are gonna start with I think this is a 126. It already was used today, so I'm just going to be resourceful and use this again. So we have a little bit of green already in this bag. It's a really dark, gnarly, dirty green, and I love it. So I'm gonna combine this with a softer green. I've got like a limey green that I added some black to. So it's leaf green, a little bit of yellow, and some black to make it just a little bit dirty and light, but still has that like layers of coloring. I'm gonna put that in this bag and a little bit, just see what happens, and we'll practice piping technique while we're learning. I also am super curious. I've been totally obsessed with slushies lately. I don't know if it's hot or if it's just something fun and nostalgic to drink, but I would love to know what you guys are drinking on these crazy hot summer days right now. I've never understood the coffee when it's hot out. All right, so I filled my bag. I'm going to burp the bag, which is what I call it when you just squeeze till those little air bubbles come out. And you'll see the color started dark and it's gonna get softer and lighter, but you're gonna have those darker lines of color running through it. So it should give it a really cool effect. So I'm gonna start by piping my base. I've got a rose nail here. I like the larger ones. You can use any size that you're comfortable with. This is a number 14 from Deco Pack. I think the larger ones, they're never too big. I can make a super tiny flower on it. So I really recommend the larger ones. They give you room, you don't run out of space. The biggest difference between a rose and a succulent is instead of putting this narrow part on the top like you would a rose, the fat part goes on top. And we're gonna make a base, and we're just gonna squeeze a nice little dollop of icing. And again, the fat part is on top. We're just gonna start by making a little center, even pressure, and spinning the rose nail while you go around. And I'm just gonna make little petals just like I would a rose. So I've got my first couple rows of petals, and then I'm gonna keep going around and just fill it in. And you just make it as big as you would like it to be. I love these layers of color. Throw me some hearts if you think the color is turning out awesome. I think that's one of the like biggest benefits or perks or significant things for doing succulents is if you have all these like layers of color, you get that very realistic succulent looking flower, plant, thing, decoration, whatever you want to call it. So we're just going to do our last few rows there. So we have this gorgeous succulent. It's got a lot of depth of color, super simple. I'm just going to take my scissors, slide it off, and then I can put it on my cake by closing the scissors just like that. So super easy. I'm going to do another one with longer petals just to show you guys the difference. So that one has shorter petals, and you can do this with your flowers too. Same technique, but you can make your petals different lengths, and then you get a little bit of a different vibe. Terry says, clean juice has been my refreshing drink. What flavor, Terry? I asked for those just joining what drinks you guys are enjoying this summer on hot days, which has been all of them. I've been obsessed with slushies, like nostalgic. I love it. Hey Raven, hey Christy, hey Tammy, hey Crystal. Thank you guys for joining. Una's in Texas, I love it. All right, so same thing. It started with a base. The fat part goes on top, the skinny part goes on the bottom. It's the opposite of doing a rose, for those who are familiar with flowers. If you're not, I did do a tutorial Tuesday on flowers. So just a center, and then we're gonna go around. I do feel like it's awkward the first several times, at least for me, the first several times I did this. It was like, I felt like I was making my flower upside down, because I've made roses for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. I need to look up when I started decorating and do some math. I forget how long I've been doing this. I guess that's when you know it's been a long time. All right, so longer petals, and I'm just turning it more, and I go back when I run out of space. Let's see, I always look like put the flower towards me when I'm doing it. I need to make sure I point it at you guys. All right, so I've got this guy. I think my petals are actually pretty close, but I will show you. So the bag, I start off with the dark green, and then added the light green, and you can see the dark starts fading and getting softer. So every flower ends up being just a little bit different. I think that's pretty cool too. All right, so just gonna slide that guy right off. And we'll put them over here so that we can show you guys when we're done. So, super simple, really basic. If you guys are making these at home and you haven't mastered roses yet, that's totally fine. It is the same technique, but it feels a little bit different. So it might actually be beneficial if you're struggling with roses to practice something different. I feel like a lot of the times when people struggle with making flowers, it's because they get in their head and haven't had like one-on-one teaching where someone can give you really easy pointers, because a lot of it's just about the angle of what you're holding. So I'm going to do one more of those so I can really go into the detail about the angles, and then I've got like 2 or 3 other kinds of flowers or succulents I want to show you guys. All right, so let's make a big one. So if you want to make a bigger flower or succulent, you just make your base bigger. Hydrating one with watermelon, pineapple, and mint. They have smoothies too. Mint in my beverage? I don't know. Oh, you guys have a lot of comments on here. I'm sorry. Watermelon sangria, love it. Sun King slushies, that's awesome. My husband would love that. Blueberry gin and tonic at the end of the day. Sun King orange vanilla ice cream ale. Sun King has some awesome stuff. Okay, cool. So bigger base. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. Is that what I was gonna do? Oh yeah, I was gonna show you guys the angles. Okay, so you want it to be opening just like a flower blooms. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna start by making these guys wrap straight up and down. So the angle of my tip is straight up and down. Now with a flower, this is not sticking. I'm gonna do another one. With a flower, like a rose, I want it to look like it's blooming. So I'm gonna start straight up and down with my tip, pointy side up for roses. And every row, I'm gonna angle it out a little bit more and a little bit more so that it looks like it's blooming. With a succulent, you want a little bit of that, but not nearly as much. It's not really blooming. It just grows in that awesome shape. Okay, so got my rose nail wiped off. Let's make a nice big base. Flip my tip upside down so the fat part is on top. And we're gonna make our center. And then straight up and down. And then my next row is still gonna be straight up and down. So I angle it a little bit towards the end to like fit in more petals, but I'm really keeping most of these guys straight up and down. Let's wrap these, make longer petals. Or leaves. I guess they're leaves. We're gonna come back to these guys after I show you a couple others so we can play with some color, because I feel like we can play with a lot of color with these guys and they look very cool. All right, that might be the best one. So I feel like the longer leaves do look a little bit better. What do you guys think? It looks like a succulent. So you can see my angle stays pretty relatively up and down until the last couple petals. And I keep it very simple, right? Just the same shape. Also, just like with flowers, when I put them on cakes, I like to make sure that like not all of them are exactly the same size. I want them to be a little bit different. Okay, I'm gonna show you another succulent that I love. Let's see, Columbus, Indiana, welcome. Dorothy, thank you. She says they're cute. Amanda, thank you for joining us. Jill Jones, thank you. Betty, hey, thanks for joining us. Okay, so thank you guys for joining. This is so cool. I love having a little cake decorating party with you guys. We're gonna do this guy next, this tip. It is 18, is it 18? It doesn't say, it's 18. So it's like a star tip, it's smaller and it's open in the middle. The tip doesn't curve inward. We're just gonna drop that in a parchment bag and I'm gonna cut that so that my tip falls through. Whenever you use parchment bags with tips, you always want to tape and reinforce that, or when you squeeze that buttercream through, it will break through and pop your bag. I've done it many times. Always when I have the perfect, beautiful flower. So we're gonna make a green for this guy. And you can see the tip just needs to come through a little bit. It goes up to here. You don't have to have even half of it sticking out, just enough so that the tip part, the opening parts, are all the way through. I've got some fun greens. I've got this messy green that's kind of in between what we just did. It's not mixed all the way, so I have some darker and some lighter green showing through. I'm gonna throw some white in there. Let's do that. I have a little bowl of white here. Just put a plop of white in there. So this is another way that you can load a bag. So the first way, the bag had already been loaded and then cleaned out. So you had like a smearing of the dark green on the outside and then the lighter green in the middle. This way, you can mix it in the bowl messy so that it's not mixed all the way and load the bag that way. So I've got a little bit of all the colors running through the bag. And we'll just take a scoop and drop it in the middle. And then we have our bag loaded here. So there's a lot of different ways. There's another one I'll show you as well. And you just want to make sure that you pull all that icing down to the middle so it doesn't squirt out the back end. We'll roll it up and then burp the bag just like anything else. So you can see the texture that we get from this guy. We're gonna make some cool spiky succulents with this guy. Number 18 tip. So again, we're gonna start with a blob. Let's call it a blob. Hey Kayla, hey Matt, thank you guys for joining. So we're gonna make a blob. This is our base. We can make it as tall or wide or fat as you want. This is the middle of your rose or your flower or your succulent, so that's how big your flower is going to be. So if you want to make a tiny one, which we'll do, I love these when they're tiny. And I like to start at the bottom, and you want to attach it and squeeze out. And you want to go out at an angle and a little bit up so that it's not flat against the rose nail or your flower nail. And my next row is going to go in the middle. And we're just gonna fill it in one row at a time. And you can make these bigger or smaller. I'm just being kind of aggressive and making them fat. So we have this cool spiky dude. They don't have to be even. Like, you can have longer ones and shorter ones. It's a plant. Nobody's telling the plant exactly how to grow. It's not perfect. And your flower doesn't need to be either. Pull this guy off. And there you go, you have this cute little spiky dude. Let's see what else. So I have a bunch of icing in this bag. We're gonna do another one. Burp the bag, yes, I love it. You gotta get those air bubbles out of your bag. So I use most of this bag on that one huge flower. I'm gonna open this up. I've still got buttercream in here. It's filled to about here. Never fill the bag all the way, about halfway is the most you want to fill them, otherwise you'll make a huge mess. So I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to take just some white, and we're just going to see what happens. Did you guys know I use these to play, these tutorials to play too? So I'm just going to take some white and dump that in, choose a little bit more. And we'll see when that white starts to come through how it looks. So I've got the white in there. Jennifer, Lisa, thank you guys for joining. All right, we're gonna burp the bag again. Sometimes it's crazy. We've shot people across the table with icing before because it burps, so. Paula, thank you for joining. I love it, you guys. Thanks for coming on today. All right, so let's make another decently sized one. So we're gonna make a nice wide base. You can see the white is coming through. Angle them up as you go around. Super simple, guys. I love this because it's very rewarding to do. They look very cool, very easy to learn, very forgiving. Like, everyone doesn't have to be perfect, right? They actually look better when they're not all perfect. You want some to be wider and some to be shorter. Jennifer, Terry, thank you. Stacy, thank you guys for joining. So we've got a nice tall guy. See how the white comes through? I think that's just fun. We have the different ranges of color popping through. So let's make a really tiny, cute one. I'm gonna stick with green. We'll see. Let's see. I've got a super tiny bit left in this bag. I'm just gonna make a really tiny base. He's so cute. And let's pipe a little guy. So I'm just trying to make each spike a little bit smaller, but it also just has a lot fewer spikes. So we've got this guy. Let me get my big guy back. He's not coming. We've got the first one that we did, and we've got this guy. So if you put these on a cake together, it looks like you have a little garden going on instead of you just have giant succulents. I like to have that range. Right, super cute. All right, let me show you another one I love, and then we'll play with color because there's a lot of different things we can play with, different shades, different kinds of greens, black. I've got some blue and purple we'll play with. Betty says, where did you get your wild nail from? You mean the huge nail? I love it. This is from Deco Pack. You can find them on Amazon. Miss B's, I'm sure, has them. If you're a local, please shop or reach out to Miss B's. They are in Speedway, but they are amazing. She's working on remodeling. I think she might be open again. Where does it say what number it is? This is a number 14, so it is quite large. But I like it because I never feel like it's too big, but I do feel like with the other ones I have some where I'm trying to make a big flower and I feel stifled by the rose nail, so I definitely like this. The tip I just did for that guy is an 18, this tip here. Cool, let's do this guy here. I call this a lily tip. This is a 143. It's U-shaped or C-shaped or smiley face shaped, whatever you would like to call it. They make, Christina, yes, Big Miss B's is amazing. We love shopping there. And I look for opportunities to go just because it's like a fun store and they are so amazing. Actually, when I was doing cakes from home and had my kid, the first place I went with him by myself after he was born was Miss B's, and they like played with him while I shopped. It was the cutest thing ever. So they are very special. All right, so again, tape up your parchment bag when you cut for your tip so that it reinforces that, because when you go to squeeze that, the pressure can bust the bag out. So let's do some darker green. You know what, I'm gonna show you guys something else. I'm gonna do some white here, just a tiny bit, and I'm just gonna smear it on one side of the bag. I'm just smearing a thin layer in one side of the bag, so it's just on the bottom there. And then I'm gonna take my green, I'm gonna mix this up a little bit better. So today we're doing succulents, and we're talking about different ways to color your flowers or your succulents, different ways to load the bag. All right, so I've got a cool green here. I'm gonna add some black, and we're just gonna make it a little bit like sageier, dirtier, duller. I like when my succulents are a little bit odd colored. Like not normal colors that you would think of in nature. Some have blue, some have black, some have purple. I think it's beautiful. What about you guys? What kind of color? Does anyone grow succulents or have succulents? All right, so you guys can see it's just a little bit duller. We're gonna take a scoop of it. And we have that white smear on the bag. We're gonna load the other side of the bag with this green. I had succulents and I killed them. I feel like that's something that people say in movies when they're like, they kill everything. I can't even keep a succulent alive. But I did. I don't know if I overwatered it or underwatered it, which is pretty big extreme. Okay, so you can rotate this tip however you like. So when you squeeze this bag, you're gonna have white come out and green come out. So when you rotate the tip, like right now it's coming out the side, you can see the white is only on the side. So I can rotate the tip. Let's rotate it this way. And you can see the white in the bag as well. And that should make it come out on the back. There we go. So now I have the inside of my petals will be dark and the back side of my petals will be lighter. And I think that's a very cool way to load for this kind of flower. So you have that shading and that differentiation with your flowers. So I'm gonna use this bag here to make my center. So I have a nice big center, which I just dumped in my sandy bucket, but that's okay. Let's see. Lily asked, do you only have live on Tuesday nights? I do right now. About once a month, we're gonna go live on Wednesdays for a Wedding Wednesday. But you can always watch the replays on Facebook or on YouTube if you're not able to catch it live. And if you do make comments, then I will go back and answer those if I see them as well. Terry says, she also kills her succulents. Samantha kills hers too. I love it. Thank you guys. Do you also dream of having a garden that you can eat from? Because I feel like that's a bad combination. I really want to have a garden where I can like go out and pick some fruits and vegetables and make dinner, but I kill succulents, so I feel like it's a bad, a bad combination. Okay, so I have my nice round blob base. I have my succulent bag here. You know what? I should have wrote down what number it is. I think it's 123. I did say it earlier. So you want it to be smiling at you. So U-shaped. And I'm gonna start at the bottom again. And you're going to do exactly the same thing that we just did. I'm gonna go around and make a base. You want them pointing up a little bit. You can make them longer or shorter. And you can see that the bottoms of these guys are a little bit white and like silvered almost, and the top is that green. Terry started a garden and has cucumbers, and I'm great with herbs, Terry. I don't know what it is about vegetables though. I have a tomato plant and it looks gorgeous, and I don't have a single tomato on it. Oh, I have problems with plants. I'm gonna blame that I work too much, so I don't pay attention to them, but I'm a little afraid that's not the problem. So we're just gonna go around row by row and fill it in. And you can angle these guys whatever way you'd like. You just want to kind of puzzle piece them together. I'm just going to go around and around and around and fill in until we get to the middle. And you want to fill in that middle, and then you have this nice stabby, ruffly, I don't know, again, I don't know what anything's called. I just know it looks cute in buttercream. But I love him. This is one of my favorites. And there are smaller tips that are the same shape that make these very cool as well. Same exact technique to make mums. If you're making flowers, especially fall flowers, gorgeous mums with this exact same technique. Let's make another one. We'll make a tiny one. So I'm gonna make a tiny base. And just like the other guy, we're gonna start at the bottom. You can pack these in tighter or further apart. You just want to make sure there's no gaps in between them. I will say this is probably the hardest one to learn, because you do want to make sure that you're squeezing your piping relatively the same. So it's a little less forgiving. Mums are fairly difficult. So it just takes practice. So messy, adorable little guy. I don't know about you guys, but I like him. Okay, so let's take a look at the 3 flowers that we just did. I keep calling them flowers. The 3 succulents we just did. And I want you guys to rate them for me. Tell me what you like. I want to unhook you for a second. Let's go on a field trip. So we have number 1 is this guy here, the first ones we did. Number 2 are these guys. And number 3 is this guy here. So throw me a 1, a 2, or a 3. Which one do you like better? I should do it this way so it's not upside down. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Throw me a 1, 2, or 3. Which one you like best? I think I like the coloring of these guys the best too. So one last time, number 1, 2, and 3. So when I do a succulent garden, I like to make a variety. I lost you guys for a second. I closed the app. When I make succulent gardens, same with when I do flowers, I like to make a variety so I don't have all the same. So I would do like a couple of each of those, or one of one and a couple of other ones. So there's not really a right or wrong. You can do all one kind. You can mix and match with actual flowers like roses, and those like some corally peachy colors or purples are gorgeous. Yeah, it's just really whatever you like. Betty says, you make it look so easy I can't get my buttercream right for piping flowers. Betty, I would love to know what kind of buttercream you're using. What does it have in it? Does it have shortening? Does it have butter? Does it have milk or cream in it? Throw me your ingredients real quick. Samantha says, all are cute, but the first ones are pretty. One, but I have great interest in the others. I love it, guys. I do think that one is probably, in my opinion at least, the prettiest. So we're gonna play with number one and play with some colors and see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, so it will be fun. I'm gonna take this big bag with our 126, 127. I'm not sure which tip it is, but about that size. To make those first ones again. Here's our tip. And we have the bag that already has green in it because it's dirty. From today, guys. Dirty from today. And I'm going to, let's see, we're gonna take some purple. I have this very pretty fuchsia-y, obnoxious, fun pinky purple. And I really just wanna see what happens. I just saw this. And so I'm gonna do some smears and globs and make a mess with it and see what happens. You know, the cool thing is, I feel like you guys are so supportive and amazing, and sometimes you guys make me feel like a rock star, but everything that I'm showing you guys I've learned from someone else. And I think that's a really cool thing about our industry, is that we get to share what we know and inspire each other and help each other grow and learn more. And you know, I've been doing this for over a decade. I have a decorator here who's been doing this for over 20 years, and we're never gonna be done learning and growing and having fun because our people, and you guys are part of my people, so thank you. All right, let's burp that bag. And then when some purple starts to come through, we'll see what happens. I don't know how much the shade of purple matters. I would think that it matters. The more pink in it, it's probably gonna have a little bit more of a dirty effect because the green and the pink are gonna make it mix and make it dirty. We'll see. Rose nail bag. Just like with roses, but we're gonna keep the fat tip on the top and the narrow tip on the bottom. I already love it. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm gonna make this wider. So you can just widen your base by doing that. And we're gonna do the first one. He fell over. All right. Okay, I love it with the purple. I'm so excited to see what you guys think. I had an air bubble, so I can go back and I can pull them off. I can use the tip. We can fix it, we can start over. It just depends what's going on the cake, what's going on the flower, how it looks. I'm kind of in love with this. All right, purple is a win, you guys. Throw me some hearts, tell me what you think. I'll give you a close-up in just a second. We're gonna do some more petals on here. Leaves, not petals. That's gonna be impossible to remember. I need to make some huge ones. Okay, I love it. Like, love it, love it. Like, really love it. How gorgeous is that? So purple, guys, if you are making succulents, add some purple. I love it. It does make the green much darker, much dirtier, but you have that like purple highlighting tips coming through, and I think it's gorgeous. So cool. Becky, thank you for showing me. I love it. All right, let's do another one. And then I have some blue. I want to add some blue and see what happens. And then I have some black I was gonna add. I've never seen black on a succulent, but I just wanted to see what would happen. I don't know about you guys, but I just like playing and seeing what happens. Let's make a huge one. I almost made a rose instead of a succulent. Let me turn this tip around. Let me see if I can get closer for you guys. If we can do it over here. All right, I got my center. It's messy. I'm gonna stand up so I can show you guys here. Let's see, am I in focus? There we go. When the tip gets messy, it definitely starts to make a mess, so wiping that tip off helps. Is anyone else loving this purple? This is a very messy succulent. I like to make these guys, like some bigger ones, some smaller ones. I'll make this guy huge. I love it. I love the purple. I love the purple in there. Cool. This is so fun. Thank you for letting me play. Let's try some blue and see what happens. All right, I'm gonna squeeze this bag out. We're gonna have this messy bowl of color. That's okay. So if you use a American buttercream that has no liquid in it, it will be non-crusting. So our buttercream is high ratio shortening, real butter, powdered sugar, vanilla. That's it. And that makes it very forgiving, very easy to work with. It does not crust, so you're not on like a time frame where you have to have it ice and smooth and perfect. I can pour my icing back in the bowl and reuse it, remix it, change the color. I'm gonna put some of my lighter green in here. We're gonna do some blue. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be fun. I'm just excited to play with you guys. And we can learn together. Pink is gorgeous too. Purple, I'm in love with. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going back. I think purple has changed my life forever. So I've got a nice messy green. I'm gonna get some of that purple out of the bag. If some's in there and we have pink and purple and blue and green and black, I don't care. I think that's awesome. All right, so I got the bag cleaned out. There's still a little bit in here. And I did a bright blue. It looks so real, I'd overwater it. I love it, Terry. Very pretty. You're a great teacher. Thank you, Lulu. That's so calm, or so cool. She said, I am so calm, and watching you calms me down. Thank you. I don't think anyone that knows me would call me calm, but I love that I can bring that here. All right, I have this obnoxious blue. I love it. Let's see. I've always wanted to be calm. Maybe this is my secret. Maybe you guys are my secret for calm. Let's just do some blobs of blue. Let's do some bigger blobs and see what happens. I did like careful little smears of purple. Some big obnoxious blobs. Yes, my bag looks crazy. This would never work with royal icing because it would just slide right off, but the buttercream sticks to itself really well. No, I wouldn't hang out all day like this, but it's fine for now. Let's take the green. Put some green in the bag. Excited to see what happens. Maggie says yellow would be wicked in contrast with the green too. I think you're totally right. You'd have that like bright moment and it would blend together really beautifully and limey. I think that would be cool. Orange would be super dirty, but could work. It makes it very mossy. Vanilla in liquid, bean, or paste. We use a vanilla extract. We use a Madagascar real like real vanilla extract. I don't want beans because then when I decorate, I'll have little beans. Oh, it's gonna be interesting, this blue, you guys. All right, do we think it's gonna win? Do we think it's gonna work? We'll play. Orange and pink would be a good combination, I love it. And it is just about equal parts butter and shortening, very close. So the shortening gives it like nice structure, keeps it very perky and smooth, and the butter gives it delicious taste. If you use all butter, you end up with a very soft, like saggy buttercream, unless you add a ton of powdered sugar, which makes it very sweet. You also end up with a lot more air bubbles, whereas the shortening will help cut back on some of those air bubbles. So it does make a much smoother buttercream. All right, so fat tip up. Mercy asks, what brand of color do we use? We use, why am I blanking? There are two brands I like. AmeriColor, which I use for like my red and my black, but I like all their colors. And then CK, which just changed brands and I can't remember what they're called now. But CK Products has gorgeous, very concentrated gel coloring that we like. Oh, I think this is totally gonna work. Let's make a huge one. I'm gonna get up here and show you guys another one close up. So this is gonna make it definitely more of the like tropical succulent kind of color. Whereas what we've been doing is very dirty, wintry colors. All right, so we've got a center. Just making this so messy today. I feel like I never get nervous anymore about being on here because you guys are just so forgiving. Like anytime I make a mistake, we can just learn from it and there's no pressure to be perfect or say the right thing. You guys let me play, so thank you. I really love getting to do this with you guys. I'm not where I thought I'd be when I started cake decorating, but I am so happy to be here today. So I feel like the blue is a little bit boring, honestly. What do you guys think? It's a pretty color, but like the purple, woo, the purple popped. I shouldn't have started with the purple, I knew it'd be gorgeous. All downhill from here. I mean, it's a pretty succulent, but it's just not as pretty as the purple one. I need to do a time lapse of this. I think this would be fun. Cool. So, pretty blue. It's almost like an aloe kind of color. Like that blue, purple, or not purple, the blue-green aloe looking color. What do you guys think? I like it, but it's not what I had in mind. Christine, yeah, I agree. It's kind of matte. I think it would have been gorgeous if we didn't do the purple, but the purple just was so pretty. Hard to go, hard to top that. So I have one more idea I want to play with you guys, and that is with the black. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I think it would be cool. At least to find out. Maybe we'll find out something new and amazing, or maybe it will just be really dark and ugly and gloomy, which is totally possible. So I like to just squeeze the bag out, get rid of those excess colors. Do the cupcakes in the back have succulents on top of them? Yes. So these are our gum paste succulents. Let me see. Which these guys were made by Sarah. So they are gum paste. Cupcake is iced and royal, so they can be on display. Some of them are badly damaged, like this one. They've been sitting out. Super cute. Super realistic. I think this one's my favorite one, though. Isn't he cute? I just love him. So gum paste succulents, they definitely look even more real. They are very expensive for us to make because they take forever to make, but they're gorgeous. All right, I got this weird blue green color now. Let's add the little bit of green I have left in here. And then we're gonna do some black in the bag and see what happens. Throw me your comments, your questions, if you guys have any questions. I love being able to help if you've had any cake decorating related questions are totally awesome. Any cake related, any cake eating questions are totally awesome. All right, so we have this weird blue-green. Not weird, it's just like kind of an aloe shade of green. And we're gonna do some black. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Terry says, I love when we try new stuff together. Thank you, I do too. I think it's fun to explore. You guys give me a good excuse to play. I don't have much play time these days. All right, let's do some globs of black. I'm gonna do smaller globs, like smears, so I get more of it, more consistently that color, but not huge chunks of that color. Smear in there. So it's probably just gonna be gray. It's probably gonna come through as gray, but we will see. I'll load the green. Green in the bag. Let's see. Laura, thank you so much for watching. Christine asks, does the buttercream soften much while you're piping? Yes. So there's two factors. Every time I reuse a color, when I'm using it in the bag, it gets a little bit softer because I'm almost like massaging it. You can consider it like massaging it. And then my hand temperature. So my hands are hot, so that's going to make the butter softer, which is going to make them softer. So there are some girls that work here that have really hot hands, and they really do. One girl that used to work here, amazing, I love her, I miss her, years and years ago, and her hands were so hot when she would pipe scroll work, the color in the bag would actually change shade, and so she would have to have two bags of the same color. When it started to change, she would switch to the other bag. It was crazy. Terry says, is succulent wedding cake the new trend? Succulents are definitely trendy. Succulents and greenery are really trendy right now. They have been for a little while. It does not look like they're going away anytime soon, which is totally fine because they're gorgeous. But just like any floral trends that we're seeing, hey Kaylee, thank you for joining us right at the end again. So we're seeing with trends, the like flowers, there's a lot of options for flowers. So you can get buttercream flowers or gum paste flowers or fresh flowers or silk flowers. And there's a huge range between high quality and like real, high quality silk, high quality buttercream or gum paste. There's just a really big range. So you just want to make sure that whatever choice you make for your flowers, that you're getting the quality version of that. All right, so we have black in here. We're gonna see what this looks like. Crystal, is there anything you would do to keep the taste from being bitter when working with deeper colors? I have not noticed, even with like black, much if any taste difference. So I would wonder if, what kind of coloring are your, I've heard this a lot. And our colors definitely used to have a flavor. I just assumed that the companies were doing different things for their coloring. I'm curious what brands you use for your color, and if you're using gel coloring, because definitely the more saturated you have to get, the more difficult they're going to be to work with as well. So we've got black in here. Let's see what it looks like. And we did like messy smears on the inside of the bag. So we should have just kind of, I'm assuming we'll have some gray fading. Let's see. I don't not like it. but it's kind of boring. Like, it looks more like my plant is dying. This is what my succulents would look like at home. This is a dying succulent. Not super appetizing. I think maybe with the right succulent this would make sense, but not with this one. But I could be wrong. What do you guys think? It's all just opinion anyway. I think it's fine. But that purple got me, guys. The purple got me. I don't know how well you guys can see the black on the edges of the petals. Not petals, leaves. I'll put you up there. All right, let's go on a little field trip over here and look at these guys again so you guys can see the purple if you forgot how gorgeous it is. And remember that it is amazing. And now all my succulents are gonna have purple on them. It would be pretty on a goth themed wedding. Or cake, I totally agree. I think it has a pretty element, but it's just kind of uninspiring compared to the other ones. I like the Wilton has aftertaste. If you find a brand of coloring that has aftertaste, I would get a different brand. Let's take a look at these guys that we did here. I feel like my camera is messy. Excuse me a minute. Oh, it's mad at me. Okay, there we go. So this is where we started. So a dark green bag with some light green in it. As you pipe, it gets lighter. Dark green bag with white added. Dark green, our gorgeous purple, some blue and some black. I would love to know what you guys think, but I'm pretty sure, at least for me, that purple is a clear winner. I think we made some gorgeous succulents today. I'm super excited I got to play. I hope you guys had fun. I got to learn some cool stuff. I'd love to know which ones are your favorite. Did you also like the purple? It's okay if you didn't. You can tell me whatever you liked. I want to know. And then I will be back. When is it? August 11th. We're going to do color effects. So we played a little bit with color effects today, but we're going to be talking about watercolors and ombre and several other color techniques where we can play and add some vibrance and pops of color to the cake. So a nice, fun, vibrant, happy cake, and doing it for weddings or parties, super fun. I love it. Everybody loves the purple. So I will be back after 2 weeks. I'm taking a couple weeks off. So August 11th for Tutorial Tuesday. In the meantime, if you haven't already, jump onto our YouTube, play on our Facebook page, throw me a review on Google. We are trying to get some more reviews on Google. It just takes a moment, and we're trying to boost our rating. We still don't have a 4.8, and that's my goal, to hit 4.8. So help us over on Google and throw us a review telling us that you loved our tutorials or whatever your experience was here today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Megan Ritz. I'm the cake curator here at Classic Cakes in Carmel, Indiana.